Hello, good afternoon. Okay, thanks for joining us live. Right, so major news in the Singapore crypto space yet again. So once again, Binance announced the restriction of some services. Right, so Hai Di Lao is really going to be banned right now. Huh? Okay, so if you have watched our previous live session, okay, on the first Binance ban in Singapore, then you will actually understand the Hai Di Lao joke. Huh? Right, okay. So if you have not, you can actually rewatch it in the group itself. Is always recorded our Facebook live. Okay, so in fact, let me just show you quickly how you can actually access all these previous live session easily. Right, so just a quick one. So what you can do is just go to, let me just switch the screen. Okay, go to the Binance SG investor group, right? Okay, so under guides, right, so actually you can see there's some resources for all the members to go and download if you want to. And see, these are actually all our live streaming of the past, right? So it's very easy accessible, right? So if you have not discovered these guides yet, so you can actually use it, right? Okay, so just a quick guide to the guides, right? So let me go back to the actual presentation. Yeah, wait a second. All right. Okay. Yeah. So there has been a few questions in regard to this Binance ban in Singapore. Right. So like, what do we do next? What are the other exchanges that I can use? What will happen to your, Ethereum 2.0 staking? Can I still use Binance Smart Chain? Smart Chain, right? Because some of you has been using it for other DeFi protocol and DeFi projects and all of that, right? So we will discuss that all of this very soon, right? Okay, so I see some of you are live with us with me right now, so do give me some reaction, maybe just by clicking on the like button, so I know that you are here with me. Yeah, so or you can type this BSI in the comment box. BSI stands for Binance SG Investor Group, right? Okay. Okay, give me a second. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. All right, so before I move on, just a quick disclaimer. So do know that whatever discussed today will be meant for educational purpose and general information only, because it's imperative that you also do your own due diligence, your own research when it comes to any type of investments, right? Okay, so we also want to mention that we are not representative from finance or its subsidiary, right? Okay. Okay, so an announcement came out from Binance International, namely Binance.com, yeah, on these changes to Binance offering in Singapore, right? So if we look at this, so they will say it is saying a user in Singapore will not be access certain function, like spot trading and all of that. Okay, so it also mentioned that you'll be restricting Singapore user. Okay, so Singapore users are advised to cease all related trades, withdraw fiat asset, and redeem token by Wednesday, 26 October. All right, so actually, what does that mean? Okay, if you ask me, I'll say that it is almost a total ban already. Okay, some of you may be thinking, maybe asking, or even argue that, hey, actually I still can use some of the other function like the derivatives, like a future contract, the staking and the earn and all that, right? So according to some sources, which I cannot tell you, I believe is actually a total ban. So on 26 October, you may not be able to access Binance at all already, right? Okay, so the next question is, what do we do next? Right, okay, so for me personally and also our community itself, right, we actually will decide to, we have decided to move to other exchanges. Okay, why? Firstly, see on the announcement itself, it mentioned to withdraw all fiat and redeem tokens. Okay, maybe it's not a total ban. We can still use some of the feature like earned and futures and options and all that, right? Okay, but personally, I do not like uncertainty. Okay, investors don't like uncertainty. I hope you agree with me, right? Okay, secondly, as more and more services are being removed, it becomes too troublesome to continue using it. Right. So therefore myself and our community, we has decided to say bye Binance. Okay, bye Binance. Right. Okay. So will move to other exchange, right? So of course, this is a personal choice. You don't follow me, okay? But it's my suggestion and my own views, right? Okay. Okay, so what are the other exchanges to use? Okay, first questions, okay, is are you a holder or are you a trader? Okay, so when I mean trader, of course, it can encompass a wide range of definition, right? So it can also, yeah, some people trade day in, day out, okay, but some, maybe once a month, once a week, okay? So I will put this group under the trader. That means you still have some movement in your digital asset, in your cryptocurrency. Okay, holders are people who like don't care, they buy and hold because they believe in a project for a long term. They buy and then they don't sell it for half a year and above. Okay, then I call this group of people a holder, huh? Right? Okay, so just to uh, to differentiate these two kind of so-called investors, right? Okay, so if you are a holder, so the suggestion would be transfer to a wallet, okay, like a Nano Ledger hardware wallet or even a MetaMask, right? So because since you are holding it, so why not just put it in a wallet and then keep it safe, right? Okay. So but I still prefer to use it to put it in some exchange because who knows, maybe one day you want to sell and you want to be able to do that easily. Okay, not saying that Ledger and MetaMask is not easy, it's pretty easy as well, but maybe you just want to do it on the exchange, then we actually suggest one of them is Gemini, right? Because firstly, it is regulated in Singapore. Secondly, it's also known to be one of the safest exchanges out there, right? So I think it's pretty safe to hold your coin right there. Okay. So and at the same time, it has app and all that. I think it's pretty easy to use, right? So thirdly, rather the third suggestion is also crypto.com. I would say is also quite easy to use. Okay, so if you want to have a more controlled kind of trading, you want to set your limit order and all that. So both Gemini and crypto.com also offer that because they have the app version. They also have the web trading or web exchange. The interface and all that. Okay, if you like, right? Okay, so we do have a referral link, but not mandatory to use. But if you want to, then you can check it out. Okay, so you actually receive like $10 worth of Bitcoin for Gemini and $25 USD. But of course, you need to meet some term and condition set out by the exchanges itself. Right? Okay. Right. So this is the holder suggestions. Yeah. Okay, so trader, okay, so firstly is you can actually use DeFi, okay, decentralized exchange. Yeah, okay, so by the way, just curious, how many of you are actually using DEX, decentralized exchange, okay, for short DEX, DEX. Okay, if you are, can you type DEX, okay, in the chat box, or maybe put in a angry face button, okay, so I know that you actually uses this DEX. All right, okay, so let me see. All right. Okay. So also, I think you can still use Gemini and crypto.com even if you are a trader in a sense, okay, because they still offer you the exchange version, okay, meaning say the you can set all the limit order and all that, okay. Yeah, so I think these two are pretty good. Okay, so the other one that we actually recommend is actually FTX. Okay, so if you are using more derivatives, right, okay, so things like uh, like futures options and all that. So FTX also offer that. So maybe you are a more advanced kind of trader and all that, right? So FTX something that you can look at, and it also is one of the top 10 exchanges in the world based on this coin market cap ranking. So they have a few selection criteria, on market cap, or rather not market cap, sorry, or more on the volume and the function of the exchanges and all that. Okay, so they are actually in fact in the top 10. Okay, so again, referring not mandatory to use. Right. Okay, so let me see. I saw some of you saying ZipMax and all that. So these are some other exchanges. So of course you can use other exchanges, no problem. Okay. So but these are just some suggestions from us. Okay. And of course I'll give my reason as well. Okay. So for decentral exchange, let me jump to DEX for a while. Okay. Some of you may be using this pancake swap, okay, using a Binance Smart Chain. Okay, but the question is, can we still use it? Because essentially Binance Smart Chain, we are using the Binance chain, right? Okay, so now without Binance, can I still use it? Okay, so we'll answer that later. Okay, but these are some example of the decentralized exchange out there. Okay, so the other one is the Dinoswap. Okay, so if you have not checked it out, I would suggest you to check it out. I think it's pretty good. Okay, using the Polygon network. Okay, so they actually have uh, this UST, okay, in UST pool, Terra, okay, so which we are quite bullish about also on Terra, okay, Luna, the tickers, right, for Terra, right. So you look at this, okay, so crazy, okay, APR, okay, and UST is a stable coin. So essentially, you are receiving UST 191% APR. Okay, so if you have not checked it out, I would suggest you to check out Dinoswap as well. Okay, uh, okay, why am I showing this deck? Some of you may be having some of this liquidity swap, whatever earn feature you have in Binance. Okay, then you feel that it is a bit of waste to actually stop them. Okay, but again, if you don't want to take the risk, maybe Binance will be a total ban. Yeah, then I suggest something else for you that I think can beat quite a lot of the other. Okay, but again, disclaimer: please do your own research as well. Okay, so these are from Dinoswap, right? So you need to stake Dino. Okay, you need to stake Dino, right? So, but my thinking is right. So if it gives you 190%, right? I think it's pretty safe to still go and stake this Dino, right? Okay, because a total loss of any coin out there, right, is only minus 100%. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so 190% will definitely outdo this one. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, huh? Right, okay. So, yeah, and how about your Ethereum 2.0 staking? All right, so you need to, unfortunately, uh, remove them. Okay, sorry for the typo here. Convert. You have to convert your BEV to Ethereum and take the possible loss that could be, right, because of the different in prices, right? Okay, so that there's nothing else you can do. Okay, so you have to take out Ethereum, right? Okay, so yeah, but maybe buy some Dino and then stake it like that. I don't know, right? So again, it's something you can consider doing, right? So the next question is, how about Binance Smart Chain? Let's talk about Pancake Swap. I love it because the most of the Ethereum DeFi project out there has very hefty gas price, right? So a lot of people actually jump to this Binance Smart Chain, things like Pancake Swap and all that, right? Okay, so can we still use it? Because essentially, if I can't use Binance, then where do I get Binance Smart Chain network? All right, I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And actually, in fact, FTX do have Binance Smart Chain. So look at this. So they have the BEP2 deposit and also the Binance Smart Chain. Essentially, you can actually put in your BNB. So how about BUSD? Yes, you can. Okay, yes, you can. Right. So FTX do not have USDT. Okay, so my suggestion is if you want to use FTX, convert your USDT to BUSD. Okay, make sense? Then transfer using this Binance chain or Binance Smart Chain. Okay, so choose whichever gives you the lower fee. All right, Anna. So this is BSC, right? Okay, so far, if you have learned something, can give me another reaction? Also, maybe a love button or something this time, right? Okay, so if you have benefited, you could also help us to share. Okay, type on the like so more people can actually potentially see this live session as well, right? Okay, so thank you very much in advance first. Right, so the other exchange that we are looking at, but to be honest, we have not started using it, is actually the Mandala exchange. Some are thinking, hey, what the hell is this? Okay, so it's actually powered by Binance Cloud. Okay, Binance Cloud. Okay, so let me give you a quick, let me show you on the interface, then you understand. Okay, why are we showing you this? Okay, give me a second. Okay, so if you go into Mandala Exchange, okay, so it's powered by Binance Cloud. So if you are someone who has been very firm, has been using Binance for a very very long time, and then you feel that it's something that I'm so used to, right? So once you click on the trade now, okay, can you see what which exchange does it look no, does it looks like? Okay, okay, Binance, very very similar, right? Okay, so but unfortunately, of course, it does not have really a lot of function yet. So I will say it's only for the spot. Okay, don't have the derivatives, don't have earn and all that, right? So if you don't need all those complicated kind of function, and you still like the kind of this so-called the interface that Binance.com actually gives you, okay, then this is something that you can look at also. So I took a look at coin market cap. So it has pretty decent, okay, in fact I wouldn't say decent, it's pretty good volume 24 hours. So I think it's quite legit, okay. In fact, it is the second largest, if I'm not wrong, volume based on 24 hours trading, okay. The first of course is Binance, right? Okay, so yes, so you can check this out as well. But to be frank, of course, disclaimer again, I have not started using it, but I felt that it looks very very similar to Binance, right? So some of you maybe uh, want to check it out as well. All right, so let me go back. Uh, all right, okay. So again, this promo link, okay, but again not mandatory to use, but I can check it out. So it's actually consolidate so-called links in this one link itself. So you can find all the Mandela or the FTX or the Gemini, the crypto.com, and they're all inside this one link. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so conclusion. Okay, so what do we do next on this Binance ban in Singapore again, right? So number one, of course, we decided to move to other exchanges. So some of the exchanges that we recommend, depending whether you are a holder, you are a trader, or you can just open all of them. I will suggest you do that because it's free, right, to open, right? Okay, so of course you can also use a DEX, right? So I recommended, not say really I recommend, but I will say that you can check out this Dinoswap. Okay, I think it's really quite okay, and use the Matic, right? Polygon, right? So the fee is also, the gas fee is also decent, right? So yeah, maybe you want to diversify a little bit, so you can send some of your Binance Smart Chain to FTX, for example, then send some to DEX. Send to DEX, essentially you need your wallet, okay? So your MetaMask, and some of you, I think you mentioned Trust Wallet, okay? Some of you appear as a Facebook user because you have not given StreamYard this so-called access to your Facebook page, but it's fine for now, okay? It's fine for now, right? So just to let you know, okay? So okay, if you still want to continue using BSC's Binance Smart Chain Network, then you can actually use FTX to continue trading them, right? If not, also just move them to your wallet, okay, like MetaMask and Trust Wallet and all that. Right, so Ethereum 2.0, what to do with it? No choice, you have to convert to Ethereum and then start withdrawing them already, okay? Yeah, number five, lastly, of course, always be prepared, as what we mentioned in the previous live as well. Be prepared because we do not know when uh, there are regulations that comes in, then disrupt our these trading activities and all that, right? So for me, I always have other exchanges always ready, okay? But of course, normally if there's a ban, they'll give us some time, right? So 1 month is good enough for you to do some other action that is appropriate, right? So but if not, always be prepared, then you don't have to be so concerned when something happen, right? So overall is sad news, I would say, okay, because I've been using Binance also for a very very long time. I believe since the start of, well, I think 2016 or 2017, I can't remember exactly, right? So the Chinese saying, right, there's always the I forget what I call it, there's a gathering that always have, all gathering has to come to the end, right? So it's only a matter of when, right? So it's okay because essentially we are bullish and believe in crypto and blockchain, right? It's not about any particular exchange, right? Of course, habits can change. So no choice. Sometimes it's by force, sometimes it's by choice. And this time I would say it's by force, then we just have to follow it, no choice, right? Then, but if you still believe in cryptocurrency, still believe in blockchain, then I think it doesn't matter. Okay, we just need to get used to it. Okay, I hope that makes some sense. Okay, and very short session today. So if you have again learned something and you maybe want your friends and peers to also um, benefit from this short session, so do help us to share. Okay, again, tap on the like button if you have learned something. All right, okay, so thank you very much. Right, so before I end this session, so I just want to mention that tonight, okay, tonight, 8 p.m., we also have another live session. Okay, so myself and Ken, okay, the safe investor, yeah, will be having a live tonight at 8 p.m. So what will we be talking about? Typically, or rather historically, September has always been a not so good month for cryptocurrency. Okay, it has always, I wouldn't say always, but most of the time it ended up in red, right? And of course, with this news, is even redder, right? So, but could the crypto market, go big in October? Right, so we give our views on that, and we also have a coin pick of the week, okay, which we think that can go at least 50% up in the next 1 or 2 weeks, right? Okay, so again, if you want to find out what coin is that, maybe you can join us tonight. Yeah, okay, yeah. So with that, I will end this session, right? And before that, I saw a question. How about crypto.com? Yes, in fact, we did mention about crypto.com, okay, for both holder and trader, because I think it has very easy to use interface. It also have all the earn feature. It also has its own exchange, and even has its own wallet, right? Okay, so I think it's really okay as well. Okay, yeah. So thank you very much as well to all of you for being here. Right. So again, if you like what you have seen so far, please help us to share this so potentially more people can benefit. Right. Okay. If not, I will see you tonight at 8 p.m. Okay. See you. Bye bye.